Well, I have a character and a world he can walk around in. I guess the next logical thing to work on would be gameplay mechanics, stuff like mining, combat, things like that. So that's what I did this week, right? Hi, and welcome back to another Terraconomy devlog. This week has been interesting to say the least. I came into this week with one goal in mind: mining. You can't craft or build without mining, which makes it one of the most important mechanics for Terraconomy. So I sat down, ready to make progress on this critical feature, and then I began drawing flowers. Yeah, when I was walking around the world, I realized just how empty it looked, so I wanted to be able to spruce up the world just a little bit before I moved on to important mechanics such as mining. In order to break up the monotony of the constant color that is seen throughout the floor of every single biome right now, I decided that I would have random objects scattered throughout the floors. I decided to start in the forest biome since I already had trees implemented there. Originally, I decided to add these sticks and rocks that would be scattered throughout the world, but I just couldn't get the art style of them to fit with the look I was going for. After messing around a bit, I came up with this flower sprite which I felt would fit very well into the game. At first I tried to make it so that when each tile spawned, it would have a certain percent chance of having a flower on top of it. While this technically did work, it was giving it more of a mechanical feel and not the natural flower field look that I was trying to go for this. After messing around with it for a little bit more, I decided to spawn the flowers using noise in the same way I was with the trees. To me, this gives it more of a flowery field feel, which is really what I was looking for from the start. I was now very motivated with the vision of the game, and I was ready to start adding important mechanics. So I sat down, opened up my empty mining script, and began making rocks and bushes. You know how most devlogs will open up with a Trello board that shows you their grand roadmap and have an exact idea of each individual milestone that they're going to accomplish that week? It's really organized, isn't it? Yeah, you're never gonna see one of those here, because stuff like this happens. I'll have everything planned out, then get distracted and make it all useless. Anyway, back to the bushes and rocks. I wanted these to be what I'm calling terrain objects. Basically, these are just going to be the resources of the game. So I ended up drawing these sprites for them, which I might end up changing later, but I'm not sure yet. I used some more random noise to scatter them throughout the biome. With all of this in, I think that the general feel for the forest biome is finally starting to come together a bit more. Obviously, there's a lot more to unlock within the biome, or else the game would be very boring, but I felt like this was a good start to show the progress that the player can make as he buys more and more things to spawn in the world. Then real quick, I decided to make this hilariously creepy mask for the player. Just look at this thing. Oh, quick side note while we're talking about this. Whenever I show off the player in a sprite, the hair, beard, and skin are going to be pure white. I kinda showed this off in the last video, but I didn't really mention anything about it. I want the player to be able to choose any color in the spectrum they want for their skin, their hair, and their beard. In order to properly do this with Godot, I will have to manipulate the modulate property, which I'm showing off here, but in a sprite I have to have this as pure white, so sorry about that. So I was finally satisfied with the forest biome and the way it was beginning to look. The path was crystal clear for me to finally begin working on mining. But then I looked at this beautiful world I had created and realized something. I was the only one that could enjoy it right now. So I decided to fix that. I started by making this sprite for a sheep, then I made it demonic, and then I put the real one into the game. I decided that I wanted animals to use squash and stretch animation instead of traditional pixel art animation. So now I had a sheep and I had some animations, and it was time for the part I was dreading about this: AI. See, I've always been terrible at AI, as in, I've never learned how to do AI. Most of my projects have been dropped because I've been too lazy or had no motivation to try and add actual decent AI into my games. So, in order to not drop this project already, I decided to keep the sheep's AI very simple for now. They will stay idle for a random amount of time, and each second there is a certain chance that they'll move to a nearby position. Once I had this all properly working, I decided I wanted to add another mob into the game. chickens. After making this sprite, which I'm actually really proud of, putting the chickens into the game was super simple. They used the exact same animations and AI as the sheep, with a few variables changed in order to make them act a little more chickeny. And then I was finally satisfied with mobs, and there was absolutely nothing else I needed to add to them. But what if you could throw them? So, for absolutely no reason at all, I spent a few days making sheep and chickens throwable, and this was executed flawlessly with no issues whatsoever of conga lining sheep. So, yeah, now you can go up to any animal, pick them up, and once you're done carrying them, yeet them into oblivion. It might seem like a useless feature, because it is, but that's actually only half true. While throwing animals itself is useless, the system used to do this will be very helpful in the game. The throwing mechanic is using what I'm calling the interactable button. This is the button that you will use for things like using levers in the world or talking to NPCs, but for now, this is just the sheep eating button. And yeah, that's about everything I've gotten done since last time. I mean, I got a lot done. It wasn't really important, but hell, it's done. So I think that I'm finally done procrastinating mining, so that's what I'll work on next time. And along with that, I'll probably throw in an inventory mechanic, just so I make more actual real progress on the game. As always, be sure to like and subscribe to keep up with the game's progress. I read every comment, so be sure to leave any suggestions and feedback. I'll catch you in the next one.